Trump wants to garnish your wages May 5th if you are behind on your student loan payment.
He would much rather you simply pay it.
You are celebrating people's suffering. Just push them over the edge.
People are literally jumping and being like, someone pushed me. Hey guys, it's Angela, and in this video, we're going to be looking at more examples of people who believe that if they regret taking out their federal student loan, then the rest of America should be responsible for paying it back. But recently, the Trump administration announced that is no longer allowed. You must repay your loan. Please make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. Let's see what is going on in these people's heads. Student loan collections is another MAGA manufactured crisis.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you are celebrating Trump beginning collections on federal student loans, it is not only up, but you are not standing on principle. You're not. I'm sorry. You are celebrating people's suffering.
Celebrating responsibility and personal accountability. What? That is so messed up.
Actually, I'm not sorry. Let me amend that. You are celebrating people's suffering, and you are not just saying, oh yeah, it's good for you. It builds character. And if I had to do it, you should. No. You are sentencing someone to being labeled as a criminal, to have debt collection hanging over their heads, to have their wage.
Well, maybe instead of saying, I refuse to pay back my loan, or to not even try, it doesn't look really good on you.
Labeled as a criminal, to have debt collection hanging over their heads, to have their wages garnished, to have their taxes up, to have their social security benefits with.
It's not things that just happen. If you knowingly choose not to pay back your loan and all of these things happen, it's not like it's just happening or the Trump administration is doing it to them. It's something that these people would do to themselves.
Like, you are putting a person who is in a much different situation than you were when you were paying your student loans to have their life compromised, to be set up for failure for the rest of their life.
Set up for failure is not being set up for failure. We live in a country with so much abundance. Believe me, there is enough plenty to go around if these people will just, I don't know, open their hands or open their eyes to it, because you could have enough money to pay off your student loan and have plenty left for a wonderful lifestyle. That is the opportunity that exists in America. Whether you choose to see it or not, that is the reality of living in this country. And so to say that, oh, these people are going to suffer for all eternity is just completely unhinged.
Who is in a much different situation than you were when you were paying your student loans, who have their life compromised, to be set up for failure for the rest of their life.
Maybe choosing to go to college was setting yourself up for failure. Maybe people who did that set themselves up for failure. And instead of just being like, oh, my whole life is ruined, again, maybe just learn from that mistake. It's okay.
We are already in a recession. We're already all struggling financially.
Are we all struggling financially? I don't think so. There's people thriving right now. There's sports cars, cyber trucks, Lamborghinis, everything in the store, everything you can imagine, no shortages, no electricity blackouts. I'm so confused. Look at how it's like terrified. Fear is a choice, you know.
I've been for quite some time. And what? Now this is something we celebrate. This is something we say, oh my God, I'm so happy that people who are defaulted.
We should be freaking out right now, guys.
Who are severely in debt already and in a financial crisis already. Yeah, I
mean, I guess it's true that Americans live off of credit cards, but again, choices. The information is out there. If you want to know how credit cards and debt and interest works, the information is online. It's just up to you whether or not you search for it.
Just push them over the edge. Let's just take them for all
over the edge. These people are literally jumping and being like, someone pushed me. No.
Let's just send them to collections. Why? Because I had to pay my student loans. What? Are we not all here so that we can reduce our collective suffering? Like, we should want less people.
You're putting the suffering on other people if your normal American taxpayer has to repay your loan. It's your responsibility to pay back the loan that you took out from the government.
To suffer, not more, and especially not if we know what that suffering feels like. Why am I trying to haze people just because I endure suffering that I can help eliminate for future generations? What? Like, it makes no sense.
Does anybody else find it insane that this person can't make sense of something so incredibly simple? This guy, this dude or whatever, is saying that if people have the opportunity to alleviate someone's suffering, of course they should do that. But that it simply isn't possible. Like Caroline Levitt said, this loan, it doesn't just disappear. It gets passed on to somebody else. Somebody is going to have to pay back this loan, and it should be the person who took it out.
The people who are like, oh yeah, well, I'm doing this because it's what I wish I could have had in my childhood. I just want to make the world a better place and easier so that, they don't have to go through what I did. And then they're like, but you have to go through what I did. You have to suffer. It is the people who are already struggling to pay overdraft fees in their bank accounts that you are celebrating.
Maybe don't do that anymore then. Imagine somebody punching themselves in the face and being like, this is hurting me really bad. And you need to stop doing this to me. And they're literally the ones punching themselves in the face.
Having to pay so much money that they don't have, to the point where their wages, taxes, and Social Security benefits are going to be garnished and And on top of all of this, what populations is this going to affect most negatively? Oh, marginalized ones.
No, this person is just, the whole rant was not about marginalized people. The whole rant was very personal, okay? And that is probably why they lean into the LGBTQ stuff and be like, I'm marginalized. No, you're not. You are middle class, wealthy Americans. If you don't have the money, then get it, because that is what you can do in America. Quit complaining, seriously.
Who are the people that get student loans and get federal student loans? Who are the people that are
Do you have a student loan? It seems like this person has like serious debt.
disadvantaged economically? Like, hello, everybody, please.
Guys, come on. Hello, pay for my debt, please. Don't be rude. I'm suffering like marginalized people are, because I am too. What excuse is there? You live in the greatest country in the world, wealthiest country in the world, and complaining about not having enough dinero.
Y'all, they're about to start garnishing people's wages whose student loans are in default. No, I'm not fucking kidding. I'm sorry. I know that there is a literal avalanche.
As if we're supposed to be angry about it right off the bat. No, what?
Of news happening at every moment, and that every goddamn headline is a breaking news headline. But this is really serious and people need to know, because it could ruin people's lives. And of course, the Trump administration doesn't give a f. However, okay, long story short, a lot of people received a pause on their student loans needing to be repaid back in 2020 during the pandemic, okay? Well, the Trump administration has decided that even though the economy is falling apart at the seams and Lord even knows what the the unemployment.
Even if the economy was falling apart at the seams, that's usually when there's even more opportunity. So in no circumstance do these arguments really make sense.
Right now is apparently the right time to start garnishing people's wages, to retrieve this
Your
money.
wages are going to get garnished starting May 5th. No, I'm not kidding. The joke's true.
Wait a second. Everybody keeps saying that they're going to confiscate all of their wages, and that is a really huge exaggeration. What I understood from the announcement was that people need to begin repaying their loans, and if they don't, then they will go to collections, or then they will hold their tax refunds and potentially their wages. But it's not like, oh, if you ever took out a federal student loan before, then your wages are just going to disappear. But that's what they try to make it seem like. And they're continuously just trying to victimize themselves as much as possible.
The Trump administration has said that they're going to start garnishing wages of all the borrowers that are specifically in default.
Then repay it then.
When the COVID program
Little
happened,
by
about
little,
5 million people were in default. And I'm sure that once we all have to start actually paying back our loans, a lot of us are going to go into default. Of course, they're just pushing us to, get income-driven payment plans. And yeah, but it's just like we were promised to go to college and get like these high-paying jobs, and none of us are getting hired. And now we have to pay back all this money. And I get it. I got a service, all that. Totally cool with me. But Yeah, I just feel like it's all very abrupt and not giving anybody time to actually set up the ability to do this.
I mean, they should have had a plan a long time ago. The Trump administration isn't expecting them to pay back everything immediately, I don't think. To me, it sounds like the answer to this is very simple, and they just need to sit down and make out a plan and know how much money is coming in and how it is going out, and that they keep track of their expenses and that they have strict accounts, because there's a very high probability that they are spending a lot of money and it's just kind of disappearing and they don't know where it goes every month. And so they're just like, well, I don't have any money to pay back my loans. But if they said, okay, I make $3,000 a month, 500 of that needs to go to my student loans, and then what is left of that, I can take 10% to savings, invest 10%, and then I can give the other 10% to a charity, and then I can use the other 70% for my living expenses. Potentially, I could go back to living with my parents for some time, or I could rent out a room in somebody's house or rent out their basement for $800 a month, and then I'll have $200 left for food or something like that. But I guess that the simple and easiest path to take, which is what humans are so used to doing and we have to really push back on, is to take the easiest path and just be like, oh, this is so difficult. My life is ruined.
Donald Trump wants to garnish your wages in 2 weeks on...
I don't think that he wants to do that. He would much rather you simply pay it on your own.
May 5th, if you are behind on your student loan payments. More specifically, if you are 270 days behind, they will begin garnishing your wages, taking your Social Security, and taking money out of your tax return without your permission as soon as May 5th. There are 5 million Americans.
If you don't pay back a loan, usually they go for that asset. When you're indebted to somebody, it makes sense that they're going to seek repayment. They have to. They're not a charity. They're in the business of making money.
Americans who this would apply to. And there are 9 million more who are behind but do not yet meet that 270-day threshold, but could soon. Now, don't mind the Bible quotes about debt behind me. They don't matter here. What matters here is that you understand that this absolutely does not have to happen. They are choosing to do this out of cruelty. They know that the people who are not paying their loans do not have the ability to do so. They do not care if you get kicked out on the street.
That is so messed up to say that they don't have the ability to do so. We all have the ability to do anything that we want in life. And so for her to just be like, oh, this is cruelty, picking on these poor, impoverished people, it's simply untrue. I hope that my video has been informative or somehow inspiring to you. If it has, please make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye!